Hello and welcome to the Belmore Sports Ground for tonight's Winfield Cup clash between the Canterbury Bulldogs and the Cronulla Sharks. Again, a very important game for both teams. Canterbury sitting on 9 points, need to win tonight to stay in the semi-final race. While for Cronulla, it's been a lean season, certainly a turbulent week with the resignation of Chief Executive Peter Mortimer, the relegation of Gavin Miller to reserve grade. They'll be looking to finish the week on a bright note. Joining me is Ray Warren. Ray, no doubt both teams can be deemed inconsistent, but Canterbury especially have had a couple of good results.
Yeah, I think they've beaten joint competition leaders Eastern Suburbs and Brisbane along the way. You said Canterbury need to win tonight. I think it's essential they win tonight because I think about 28 points will be necessary to make the semi-finals. That means they need to win 9 of their last 11, so they can ill afford a loss here against the Sharks.
Rounding out the Channel 9 commentary team for tonight, once again, is Paul Vaughton. He's now on the sidelines with the injured North Sydney captain Tony Ray, discussing their thoughts on the game.
Well, thanks, Pete. Yeah, I've got Tony with me. And, Tony, you broke that leg back in round 2. How's it coming along?
It's starting to come along nicely now, despite a couple of early setbacks, and I had to be back on the paddock within 3 weeks.
That's good news for the Bears. They're going along nicely. What about tonight's game? How do you see it going between the Doggies and the Sharks?
Well, it's hard to go past Canterbury, despite their indifferent form. They have enough strike power out wide, Ewan McGrady, Darren Smith, Terry Lamb, and they're playing against a side, Cronulla, that just hate playing away from home.
Well, I think Canterbury win too. And interesting to note that Gavin Hill from the Canterbury side was today named in the New Zealand Test side to play New Guinea in the next few weeks. Here come the sides. It's back to Ray in the central commentary position.
So the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs come out now. Thank you, Paul Vaughton. And Terry Lamb, of course, leads them out with 3 wins at home from 5 games. And as we've said in the preview, a most important clash for them here tonight. Having a look at the entire team, Peter Sterling.
And the fullback for Canterbury is Ewan McGrady. On the wings, Paul Doolan and Jason Williams. In the centres, Pat Moore and Smith. Terry Lamb is the 5'8" and captain. Colin Mounter is the halfback. Reardon, Tronk and Gillies make up the back row. In the front row is Gavin Hill and Mark Brockenshire. Ben Gillies is at hooker, and they're coached by Chris Anderson.
Terry Lamb, man in charge of this Canterbury side, and he releases his own book. It's out and available as of today in the newsagents and bookstores, The Terry Lamb Story. And now Andrew Eddinghausen, he leads the Cronulla Sharks out on the Belmore Sports Ground, keeping in mind that Cronulla won the reserve grade, Canterbury won the President's Cup, Gavin Miller played in reserve grade, and Andrew Eddinghausen leading the Sharks tonight as Paul Vaughton checks the team.
The Cronulla side reads this way. Chris Quinn, the fullback. Higgins and Coleman on the wings. In the centres, Eddinghausen and McGaw. Eddie E.T.'s the captain tonight. Healy on top of the halves. The lock forward is Ken Ebb. Diamond and Vaughton in the second row. And Robbie Kearns and Michael Porter, a late replacement for Denny Lee. He's in the front row. And the hooker is Aaron Raper. Coach of that side is Arthur Beetson.
Andrew Eddinghausen. Test duty. Just around the corner again for him. Kelvin Jeffs is the man in charge of the game. Being played only in front of a small crowd. So we're almost ready now for the start of this clash, with Ewan McGrady coming up to place the ball, with Canterbury-Bankstown running from left to right. A windless night, not as cold as it probably has been in Sydney over recent weeks. And McGrady gets us going, sending it down to the railway end of the ground. Coleman it was who gave it away immediately. For Diamond, he was able to pick up Coleman, who trailed him through. Cut-out ball across the face of the decoy runner, and it's Mark McGaw who's going to play it now just outside his quarter. Topper went to ground of his own volition, but he was able to get up and scamper another 5 metres up the ground. Cronulla's number 10 is Robbie Kearns.
Bit of concern in the background, Ray, for a Canterbury player who hasn't moved. Cronulla players milling around him. Happened 2 tackles ago in an incident.
It's almost impossible to identify.
Looks like it might be Darren Smith.
Let's have a look at this incident and see if we can pick up what has happened.
Yes, it's certainly Darren Smith. Just got the head around the hip area, very reminiscent of Laurie Daly in the State of Origin fixture. Came down, hit that ground pretty hard as well, and as Paul Vorton pointed out, he hasn't moved. They're calling to the sideline. Worst possible start for Canterbury, of course, to lose Darren Smith, been one of their form players throughout the year, played representative football this year and very versatile for the Bulldogs.
Well, he certainly, if you were to say there was a key player on the side apart from Terry Lamb, it is Darren Smith. He can make breaks.
Yeah, he's caught the hip.
Tries, yeah, the hip and the knee area, and he was straight out to it. And the Canterbury doctor now coming on. Have a look at Darren.
So in the opening seconds of the game, the first tackle of the game for Darren Smith, an injury. Canterbury and Cronulla 0-0 after just 60 seconds of time gone. They've placed a neck brace on Darren, and there he is being carried from the field on a stretcher. Darren Smith, a fine year for him. State of Origin for Queensland thrown in. And young Dallas has come onto the Canterbury wing, and that pushes Jason Williams into the centres. Mitch Healy clearing now for Cronulla. Ewan Grady tries to bring it back, but little Stuart Topper is the first man down there. Ken Ebb coming in to assist. Penalty goes to Cronulla. To Canterbury, I beg your pardon.
Ray, we saw the kick go straight to Ewan McGrady, and I'm sure that Cronulla will be looking to pepper McGrady where possible. Here's the incident here that led to the penalty, another play the ball infringement. Illawarra last week had a lot of success late in the game putting up the bomb. I'm sure that Cronulla had a look at that during the week, and they'll be looking to maybe capitalise on a lack of confidence in that department.
I'm sure Chris Anderson will have looked at it as well, and will get players back there to give Ewan some more support than he got last week as well.
A little bit of loose ball there for Canterbury, but Craig Polomounta, he does fine. Run about 7 metres. Lamb, and again the sound of Kelvin Jeff's whistle. And again a penalty to Canterbury, this one well within kicking range for Gavin Hill. 48 points for the year for Gavin Hill.
Well, again, I have to question those kind of decisions. I know that referees look to set a precedent early in the game, but, gee, there was 20 metres there between the first tackler coming forward and the attacking player for Canterbury. Certainly plenty of scope for attack. I just think that it disrupts the game early on.
We'll keep you posted as best we can on the situation with Darren Smith. Gavin Hill right in front, midway between the 22 and the halfway. As I said, 48 points for the season. Talking of Darren Smith, I noted from the Big League magazine that he had scored 7 tries in 1992 to be amongst the leading try scorers, which is a good effort for a player playing in a side that's on 9 points. The kick from Gavin Hill, sweet. Beautiful kick, never left the line. And Canterbury, they grab the first points and lead by 2 points to 0.
Good start for them, 2 points on the back of 2 penalties in the first couple of minutes, and I can only agree with Sterlo. To me, it's the referee who's breaking the rule. The rule book says 5 metres, the refs want 10, and it's very hard when you're looking at quick play rules to get back that 10 metres. If they want the rule to be 10 metres, and let's get the Australian Rugby League to change it.
Well fielded by Williams. Made for the Kiwis. And that's a forward pass straight up. No question about that, a forward pass from the dummy half to the first receiver, but it is something that is so often missed by referees because they're working back on the 5-metre defensive line.
Well, there's no doubt about that. We see on the replay there, that was a good metre forward, and the referee looked to be in good position.
I wanted to ask you two guys, what kind of an effect does that have on a player when one of your teammates, a lot of concern is shown for him, he's placed in a neck brace, put on a stretcher? What sort of a mental effect does it have on you?
No doubt it'll lift the Canterbury players. They don't really know what happened. There was no malicious intent in the tackle, just one of those things that happens, an accident. But I'm sure it will lift the Canterbury side. They'll be taking the attitude of let's win it for Darren, and I hope that he's all right. Now we see another penalty. Kelvin Jeffs is giving his whistle plenty early in the game, and that's another infringement in the 5-metre area. And once again, it's a big 10 metres they're looking at.
We talk about mental toughness in the game, Ray, and I suppose that's where it comes in when you see a teammate carried off. Basically, you've just got to regroup, make sure that mentally you're okay. Forget that, hope that he's okay, obviously, as everybody does on both teams. But you've just got to get on and do the job and not let that affect your performance.
Young Aaron Raper taking the tap, son of the great John Raper. Craig Diamond playing the ball. 10 metres into Canterbury's area, short ball away for Gorton. Raper again, Topper. Healy running across, dummies for Eddinghausen, picks up McGaw. Going straight and hard, McGaw. Classic combination of centres, Eddinghausen and McGaw, but seldom in this season have we seen them teared up in the Cronulla colours.
And if Cronulla's going to cause an upset, Ray, that's where Cronulla can cause it, in those centres. Two of the best centres we've seen in Sydney for the last, 10 years. They've just got to get in and have a go.
Healy, particularly now too without Darren Smith. This is a big kick and it bounces on the dead ball line, on its point. Took a left-hand turn, so it's coming back out to the 22 for the restart, tap by Canterbury. Well, joining us in commentary, as you heard earlier, is the injured North Sydney captain, Tony Ray. Let's go down to him for a sideline comment. Early impressions.
Yeah, unfortunate loss for Canterbury early. Darren Smith is resting peacefully in the dressing sheds. They're not going to rush him off to hospital. They're not overly concerned, and they think he may be okay.
Well, that's excellent news from Tony Ray. Gavin Hill plays the ball. And now it's Brokenshire. Matches we've done of Canterbury, he's played very strong, Mark Brokenshire. Through Pollamouta for Lamb. Cut-out ball for McGrady, and almost knocking on. 10 metres short of halfway. Two dummy halves. Pollamouta puts it in the air and it goes out on the full, so it was a hurried kick by Pollamouta. He's not happy about it, but he'll get on with the game, obviously, and forget all about it now.
Well, no mistakes made by the Cronulla team early on, Ray, but I just wonder who was going to take over the ball-playing role with Gavin Miller not there. I know that they did defeat South Sydney last week, and it's hard to change a winning team, but a lot of one-out stuff so far, and I just don't know if that's going to be good enough to break up this Canterbury defence, especially up the middle.
Healy looking for the opening. Terry Lamb wrapping him up with the help of the lock forward Reardon. This is Keneb. Blonde-headed lock forward for Cronulla. Tomorrow we've got the match between Penrith and Eastern Suburbs from the base of the mountains, Diamond. And then on Tuesday we bring you the match between Great Britain and Newcastle. That's a 9:30 replay Tuesday night. Across now from Topper for the run around with Healy, and Topper, the reverse pass, but he runs straight into Reardon. They comfortably shut Cronulla down there, Canterbury.
But I do think that is going to be a good play for the Cronulla team to have Topper going around. He's a good little ball player. And as you mentioned, both McGaw and Eddinghausen, a lot of class in the centres, and they'll be looking to hit on the fringe of the ruck as Eddinghausen goes high. Not a very good kick, but McGrady cleans up. No great pressure on Canterbury there.
And the other area that Cronulla are working at is around the Canterbury marker area. Arthur's Beatson's got some very intricate moves around that area, inside balls and turning the ball back inside. And they've already made a couple of half breaks in that area. So Canterbury's markers have got to work hard tonight.
Pollamouta. Brokenshire again. Oh, good work. He went through the wall, then he looked for the support, and he picked up young Dallas out on the right wing.
He's a good player, Mark Raitons here. As Canterbury, Reardon makes a little bust off a tronc pass, but I played with Mark at Manly for a couple of years. There's no tougher forward in the game, and it's good to see him going so well here with Canterbury.
Terry Lamb's kick is going down towards that line. He's a masterful player. He's got all the skills of rugby league, and an immaculate kick on a ground that by now he knows nearly every patch of dirt.
Well, he's certainly an inspirational player for the Canterbury team. Also had to pass a fitness test to be available tonight. And when you talk about tough individuals, Terry Lamb is one player who can play with pain and injury. And he's done that constantly in the last season and a half especially. And he'll be a key player, as we know, for the Canterbury team tonight. Pushed off there. Right, looks like Chris Quinn coming in off the scrum wing.
Away goes Coleman coming in off his flank, taking a dummy half run. 5 metres inside his own quarter. Aaron Raper, what a name to carry. Very proud family, obviously, but sometimes it can be tough for a kid. Ebb. Oh, gee, that was a dangerous way to fall. They tried to bend him over backwards. Stuart Topper is probably the smallest halfback going around in the game. Healy's kick going down, and a favourable bounce for young Dallas. It's his first touch of the ball. Rushed into the game when Darren Smith got hurt. Only a youngster. Pat Moore, a dummy half. McGrady, first receiver. A little bit of a dance, but Robbie Kearns having no part of it. Scott Tronk. 2-0 in favour of Canterbury. Penalty goal off the boot of Gavin Hill. Reardon tries to push the pass. It cost them 7 metres of ground. Pat Moore to play. Reardon. Good support play, Pat Moore. Last tackle. Simon Gillies away for Terry Lamb, and now Jason Williams trying to shrug off Topper. The ball taken by Dallas, and referee is ordering the turnover about 8 metres into Canterbury's territory.
And a little bit of inexperience there from Dallas, the wing. It was the last tackle. Jason Williams knew that. That's why he threw the flick pass. With some big defence coming across. Terry Lamb was on the inside, so they might have got a kick in. The referee signals 6 again for the Cronulla team, only 35 metres out.
Raper scurries away from dummy half. Good gain in ground. Puts Canterbury on the back move. Topper away with a short ball for Diamond. Centre of the ground. About 20 metres out. And the sound of the whistle gives the penalty this time to Cronulla Southern. Talking to Terry Lamb. Right in front this kick. And this almost certainly will be the equaliser.
Another infringement in the play of the ball area. Just the Canterbury players not even attempting to get off. Terry Lamb just holding down too long on Craig Diamond. Claiming that Diamond was holding him down, but the referee was right there on the spot and didn't see it Terry's way. Mitch Healy to take the kick from, what, about 18 metres right in front of the sticks.
We've seen already one replacement in the game with Darren Smith off, but both teams have the luxury of pretty strong benches. The Canterbury, Bruce Maguire, of course, is one of the fresh reserves. For Cronulla, the likes of Luke Massey is there, Gavin Miller, of course, and Michael Speechley. So plenty of first-grade experience could be injected in this game at some time.
Mitch Healy now, and as you see it, it goes straight between the uprights. Straight over the dot, and that's the equaliser. Canterbury and Cronulla locked together at 2 points all after 12 minutes of play. Terry Lamb, I was interviewing him on radio this morning, 9:30-ish, and I said to him, "Where are you?" He said, "I've just come in from the front lawn. I've been teaching young Matthew how to grub a kick and chip over the top." I said, "Who's Matthew?" He said, "He's 8 years of age. He's about to play in the Chester Hillside," or something like that.
Well, I'd say if they had any sense, as we know Peter Moore and Chris Anderson do, they'll probably sign him on the spot.
This is Chris Quinn. Got a good step off the left foot. Cut out ball for Topper. Now McGaw. Lamb, you might have noticed, made the tackle. Went high on McGaw. He wanted to wrap that football up. Diamond. Topper now. 32 metres out from the Cronulla line. Of course, that win by Newcastle today is probably what Canterbury didn't want. I guess they were hoping for St George to beat Newcastle so that if they win this match, they could move level with them. Charge down, a little bit of pressure here for Quinn. Comes over, does it well. 28 metres out from his own line. 2 points all. Darren Higgins.
Tony Ray, very little between the two teams in this first 15 minutes. Both very strong in defence, especially in the middle of the ruck.
Yeah, it's rugby league of the 90s, isn't it? Just sort of work your way out of your own quarter, kick downfield and try not to make a mistake. Canterbury did make a mistake in not getting the kick away, and it cost them 2 points.
Played by Keneb. Morton, struggling run, but Reardon was there with Gavin Hill. Raper has the ability to kick from dummy half. McGrady. Good defence by Cronulla. They went down the ground, stayed outside the 10, then took McGrady away, back on his own 22. Played by Patmore. It's Reardon.
They did have an overlap if they'd have elected to keep the ball coming. Well, here's going to be a penalty, so it'll work out fine for them. But Cronulla playing a very, very short defensive line once again, and Canterbury had some numbers out there. They will retain possession with the kick finding touch just inside Cronulla's half.
That's a situation where if a player gets the ball in that area, he's got to have a look. He's got to take the blinkers off and have a look at where his players are situated and where the oppositions are. And if he had a look then, Paul Doolan, he would have seen they had 5 on 3 out wide, and the ball should have been promoted straight away. Instead, he stuck his head down and away he went.
And I think that's why Terry Lamb is so important to this Canterbury team, because he can count numbers a lot quicker and a lot earlier than opposition players.
Ben Gillies it was who took the tap. Brokenshire tackled on the first play. This now is the second for Gavin Hill. Ben Gillies, the dummy half, the younger brother of Simon. Tronk. Strong run up towards the 32-metre line. Polomouta. McGrady into second receiver, waiting the ball through for the runners, but it was well cleaned up there by, this is Higgins. Ebb. McGaw.
Both the Cronulla centres really keen to get involved, coming looking for the football. We see Eddinghausen and Stuart Topper goes forward, actually coming in behind the ruck area as he liked to do when he was playing fullback. He's there now backing up the middle, and I think that's a good move to get their two class players and get the football in their hands as much as possible.
Porter. Been an unhappy year for that man, Arthur Beetson. Not enough Winfield Cup points as far as he's concerned, and the Cronulla club. And out on the full. Bit of pressure now for Cronulla.
Yeah, Arthur not happy with that kick, but it's going to be very hard for Cronulla to finish off this year. They're out of contention as far as the Winfield Cup is concerned. They're mainly playing for pride, and players are playing for contracts, of course, for the next couple of years. And with Gavin Miller possibly retiring at the end of the year, you know, it's time that some of these young blokes have really got to stand up and get really involved and try and help this club along.
Polomouta and Lamb worked the run around. Diamond came up to try and shut Polomouta down. Topper was left to do the cleaning up. Tronk, and a cutout pass taken on the bounce by Patmore. Good hands by Dallas.
Go away. He's had a good start to the game, Scott Tronk, taking the ball forward very strongly, and he can pop a football. He has got some ball skills. There's Terry Lamb, a little ball.
Patmore's pass was a beauty to Ben Gillies, then to Terry Lamb, and he is swamped by the big man McGaw.
Yeah, great cover, Mark McGaw, just trailing behind the defensive line.
Polomouta. The bomb. Good chase down the ground by Canterbury, but well done by Darren Higgins.
But I can't understand, Jason Williams chased that kick, but didn't contest the ball in the air. If you're going to chase the kick, you may as well go up for it and try and you know, put some pressure on the play. Just stood there and watched him catch it.
Well, I think he actually lost it, didn't he? He stopped and looked up to see where the ball was coming down. By that time, it was in the hands of Darren Higgins. He did very well to catch a football, but it was uncontested. And again, another play the ball infringement, this time against Simon Gillies. He's being called out and spoken to.
2 points all the score. And you're watching Saturday Night League on the 9 Network. Of course, some marvellous sport coming through on the network this time of year. The big golf, and of course Wimbledon. And you don't need to be told. A massive coverage of the Winfield Cup. Higgins. Topper, it's gone across now for Borton. He's brought on as a replacement in one of the Tui's Challenge Cup matches, young David Borton. He did very well, and for the most part, he's held his position.
He's the type of player that we're looking at, you know, carrying Cronulla in through these 90s. Players like Robbie Kearns, the front row, he's having a good season. Well, Aaron Raper, I've been very impressed with the way he's played all year. And I think one of the players they are missing tonight is Danny Lee. McGaw came in and crunched in. There they are, the two centres, getting heavily involved in the defence. That's great to see. But the player they're missing, Danny Lee, who makes a lot of yards up front.
Let's take a sideline comment at this stage from Tony Ray.
Arthur Beetson will be much happier with that set of 6 with a good kick on the end of it. It's important in this game to get good field position and hold possession, and Cronulla weren't doing that with a couple of mistakes on the kicking game. That one's got the pressure back on Cronulla. They're down their end.
Bad ball away from the dummy half area. Polomouta.
6 to go there, Ray. It was touched by Borton on the run through, and now Canterbury still struggling to get out of their own quarter.
Yeah, silly play there from Borton. He just knocked the ball down. He was never going to get possession, and all it was going to be was a knock on and maybe a scrum. But in fact, Canterbury have come up with another set of 6 on their 22.
Williams trying to get out from dummy half. Williams playing in the centres now. Tronk. Diamond launched himself in the tackle. Topper came over the top as the second man. Lamb looking for the sideline now on the hillside of the ground, and again he does it. A huge gain in ground for Terry Lamb. 2 points all after 21 minutes. Scrum about to form just inside the Cronulla 22. Both these sides almost identical points against. Canterbury 223, Cronulla 219. Canterbury's 4 record, about 50 points more than Cronulla. Polomouta. Now they've got a big back line to the left. Lamb knows that. McGrady's running. Williams.
Gee, that's a big win against the head there from that scrum. Terry Lamb elects to go the blind once again, and they've got numbers Patmore. Now, if the pass has come out, I don't think he needs to throw that one. The referee rules that it's gone forward. They look dangerous, but Patmore, it wasn't the last tackle. Tried to throw that last pass, and it wasn't on.
Just on the third tackle, beautiful pass from Scott Tronk to put Patmore through a gap. Just squeezed that one out, didn't have to. And Scott Tronk, he's been Canterbury's best player. He's laying on some beautiful passes and hitting the line hard.
Topper. Plenty of yards there for Stuart Topper.
Gee, there's some easy yards there. Sure that Chris Anderson won't be too happy with his second rowers breaking there. But Stuart Topper's just taken 20 easy metres from the scrum base from his own line, and that's where they'd like to have kept them a little bit longer.
Borton. This is Coleman. Just the 2 penalty goals, one for Gavin Hill, the other for Mitch Healy. Ebb gets into space, inside 32, he's got 2 to beat, running out of room now, and wrapped up about 3 metres out from the line. Across and wide, through to Topper, now with Raper, Eddinghausen, Diamond, he's outside, they put it down. Patmore goes away, or is it Doolan? It's Doolan.
Gee, I thought he took the wrong option there, E.T. He had numbers outside, just tried to beat one extra player. The ball went to ground. It looked as though it had been knocked out of his hands by one of the Canterbury cover defence. Here we see a lot of players outside Andrew Eddinghausen here. And there, no, it just went astray. Look at that, 3 players in support against 1 defender.
Ben Gillies up for Scott Tronk. Gavin Hill. 68 tackles for Canterbury, 61 for Cronulla. Polomouta. That kicker's going to find the line as well. About 5 metres inside the 22. There's nothing wrong with the Canterbury kicking game thus far. Lamb and Polomouta now. Although Polomouta, he misfired earlier, but he's made up for it with that.
He showed some pace, Ken Ebb, didn't he, about 2 or 3 minutes ago in making that big, long bust. And he actually had a man on the inside, Chris Quinn, but Chris Quinn was just about held out of the play. The linesman didn't see it, but it was a dangerous situation there for the Canterbury side.
And it was Jason Williams holding the play back. I thought he was very fortunate not to be penalised. The referee looked to, well, this may be what he's talking about now. Here you see in the background Williams impeding Chris Quinn. That made sure that there was no support player anywhere near Ebb. Referee looking to play the advantage. They did get a play of the ball in and could have scored on the far corner, but I thought it deserved a penalty when play broke down.
Rather ironic, though, that it took the touch judge from the far side to come in. Eddinghouse off the left foot, but then losing the footing. Bundled over the top by Tronk. Underneath by Lamb. Diamond. Hey, Diamond. He and Michael Porter. Veterans of the Cronulla side, it seems like only yesterday they were kids. Both carrying very big names, as is Aaron Raper in the game of rugby league. Healy. Grady covers. Doolan goes with him. This is Doolan. Polamalu. A bit of a razzle-dazzle there before he ran into the defence. Gavin Hill, jolting tackle up top by Borton. That's the third on this set. Brokenshire. Now from the number 7 away for Tronk. Fifth tackle. Lamb. Spectacular attempt to take it by Chris Quinn. Higgins goes back.
And that's set of 6 then by Canterbury. They 4 tackles there. They took 1 out rucks. They're taking far too long to get their line set, and they only used the ball on 1 occasion. Chris Anderson would like to see them use that ball a lot earlier in the tackle count.
Paul, I'll be very surprised if we don't see a little chip over the top from the Cronulla team. Probably Healy, and with E.T. off his shoulder. McGrady very, very deep at fullback, and both Polamalu and Lamb do play up in the line most of the time. A lot of space in behind there, and there is a fair bit of quality about this Canterbury defence. Well, there was the chip that we saw, probably not that well placed, and it's allowed Canterbury to come up with possession only 40 metres out from their own line. Brady looking to keep the ball alive. Here's the replay of the kick. The little one found a little bit of space, but really they were never going to get the football. In fact, they've ended up with poor field position because of it.
And this is where in these rucks the Canterbury's got to be getting their second phase play set up, and they're just not doing it. Well, Kelvin Jeffs reeled that forward. I couldn't see a forward not going anywhere in that little belly. Hill takes it up, and where's the ball gone for?
Well, how can that be a knock on? The
gone
pass
back 5 metres.
It's gone back. Certainly Polamalu wasn't happy, and unfortunately in close games like this, those decisions do change the course of a game. Cronulla now win the scrum feed, 40 metres out from the Canterbury line. Craig Diamond takes the ball forward. Porter.
Cronulla wide to the left. And this is Mitch Healy running across, looking for the flat runner.
A good tackle there by Dallas coming off his wing. Read the play well, committed himself, was able to wrap up the ball carrier very quickly.
Coleman now. 32 metres out, tackle number 5 for the Sharks. 2 points all, and that has sickened him a bit, that tackle. Eddinghausen got a checkered passage. He may bring a penalty. Referees let it go on. Dallas.
No, well, Mark Brackett, he hasn't got to get out of the way. He just stood his ground, and Eddinghausen must run around him. If he puts a little chip in, and Brackett just stands his ground, that's fair enough.
Oh, strong defence by Cronulla. The ball comes loose. And he's going to put a scrum down. Gee, that was a heavy tackle. Borton and Ebb and Gavin Hill. Now he's been named in this New Zealand side only today, and he's down and he's injured. It was a dual tackle between these two youngsters, Borton and Ebb, and they slammed him into the ground.
Yeah, that's a big hit, that one. They actually twisted him around as he was going down, right on the flat of the back. Certainly a legitimate tackle, but it has sickened the big man. And there's Stephen Folkes, one of the favourite sons of the Canterbury club, with Larry Britton, the trainer, just walking around Gavin Hill. Looks like he will leave the field.
Well, Canterbury very much on the wrong side of Lady Luck. Bruce Maguire coming on. Very capable replacement to have on your bench for Gavin Hill. But an unhappy night for them. Two of their big names now off the field. You might try and get an update, Tony Ray, in the next couple of minutes on Darren Smith. Diamond. Top up. Healy trying to slip through the defence, but Lamb was a hard man to beat. Eddinghausen, Porter gets it down 10 metres from the line. Chance for Cronulla. Raper runs the decoy. Eddinghausen scoots out from dummy half on the 5th tackle. 5 metres from the line. Top up. Grubbers into the end goal, and Dallas is there to clean it up. But it will be a line drop out, so Cronulla will come back with a fresh set of 6.
A good finish there for Cronulla. Nicely weighted kick there from Stuart Topper. Dallas did well. They took him back into the in-goal area to force a line drop out. The only problem with McGaw and Eddinghausen being involved in around the ruck area so much is that they can't go to the back line on a couple of occasions. And we've seen a lot of play up the middle of the rucks. I do think that Cronulla may have to look to utilise their speed men out wide a little bit more than what we've seen.
That's a huge drop kick by Ewan McGrady. 55 metres on the fly. And another Canterbury player is down injured. Coleman goes away from dummy half, right through, taken by the last line, McGrady. Raper, quick play the ball, that was good play. Porter inside for Diamond, outside for Ebb. 12 metres out from the line. Raper, close to that sideline. 5 metres out from the line. Can't get a quick play the ball on this time. McGaw's pass well taken by Healy, swept by Topper. Ill-directed. Eddinghausen does well. Quinn torpedoes the ball. Higgins goes inside the quarter. Gets away from Dallas, but taken again by McGrady. In fact, by Polomauta. Quinn, Eddinghausen kicks for himself. Canterbury releasing themselves from the pressure through Scott Tronk.
Great scrambling defence there by the Canterbury side. We saw the youngster Dallas go in and take him in. He should have stayed out on his wing and let the cover defence come across, but in the end, he took a fine covering tackle by Terry Lamb was over there.
With Polomauta
as well. They saved the day.
Talking of Polomauta, this is him with the ball now. But wrapped up by Borton just inside his 22. Ben Gillies. Good piece of work away to his brother Simon. Reardon now. Last tackle for Canterbury. They'll be looking for the big clearing kick. Oh, and knock on. So there's the scoreline at 2 points all. 33rd minute of the game. Kearns. Cronulla just inside the Canterbury 22.
And again, Eddinghausen in behind the ruck area, directly behind where the fullback would be looking to come in. He's pointing to the right-hand side. We'll be hoping that they might be able to pick him back up on the inside or come a little bit wider as they try and hit on the fringe of the ruck there. It's a penalty there for an obstruction or a shepherd. Referee ruling that the Canterbury players were impeded by one of the decoy players.
You just see the two Cronulla players there running through, and it's actually, I think it's Chris Quinn who took a Canterbury defender out of the play, and just right on the spot there. Good ruling by the referee, Eddingshausen, just questioning the decision. But it's been made, and Canterbury, they do need this penalty. They're under pressure. Cronulla's played a fine game. A quick tap being taken by Jason Williams.
Taking it on is Pat Moore, throws the dummy. Eddinghausen didn't buy it.
Now they've got to use the ball, the Dogs.
McGrady away from dummy half, looking for a run-up. Reardon, it's a scrappy pass. Let's take a comment from the sideline from Tony Ray.
Good news on Darren Smith. He's sitting up in the dressing room. He's had some stitches inserted behind the ear, and he's moving his head freely, although his neck is still in a brace.
Canterbury player unable to play the ball. And it looks like Mark Brokenshire that in fact is injured. Tronk plays it on the halfway line. Lamb plugging the ball down into the corner. Higgins. Canterbury, a good chase on the Lamb kick, and of course into the corner, putting that defensive cordon on him. Quinn. Coleman. Porter.
We're coming into the last 5 minutes of the first half now, Ray, and we speak about the danger periods. Here's Kennett making good ground. He's played quite well for Cronulla in this first 35 minutes. But to be able to score now would be a big confidence booster. It's been quite a dour game. But we've seen a little bit more ball movement in the last couple of minutes. And maybe Cronulla realise that they've probably got to go a little bit wider to crack this Canterbury defence.
It's a big kick by Mitch Healy, right down into the Canterbury in goal. Kick of some 65 metres. McGrady stepping away from the topper tackle. Pat Moore.
Let's see how long it takes for some of these Canterbury players to get back on side. Cronulla's got their defensive line set, but still you can see a couple of Brokenshire and Gillies just getting back on side now. They're looking tired and they've had plenty of injuries, Canterbury. They're doing it hard. Bruce Maguire, a fresh man, that's a better run from him.
Lamb cuts out Polamatta, finds Doolan out wide. Again, that Cronulla defence was equal to the task. Lamb again, looks to the blind side. And he's put it over that touchline, just inside the 22. Well, that's a classic piece of work by Lamb. He thought about using the blindside runner, changed his mind and kicked all in a split second, and then found touch.
And did it under a little bit of pressure too. One of the Cronulla players diving at the boot. He put a bit of pressure on his winger there in Paul Doolan, but some great hands there from the speedster on the far wing. Had a bit of attention there from some Cronulla players. We go into the half-time break. Craig Diamond is leaving the field for the Cronulla club. It looks as though it is a blood bin. And there's the replacement player.
That's Danny Staines. Yeah, he played well in reserve grade. I don't know if it was his first game back, but he did play very well in reserve grade. He's a player who hasn't played any football at all this year with an eye injury, and it's good to see him back, a former Australian tourist from 1989. He'll add some starts to their pack.
There goes Craig Diamond. Dan Staines on the field. Quinn. Much a game of chess the entire first half. A chess-like game, I mean. One end to the other. Ruck it out for 5, then kick it, chase it, work for an opportunity. But very few of them have been presented by either side. And thus that scoreline remains at 2 points all. Borton. Raper. Eddinghausen able to get another kick on it, but it's gone over the sideline just outside the Canterbury 22.
A nice little piece of skill work there by Aaron Raper, the Cronulla hooker. Little chip over, and E.T. follows it up with another one. Just beat them in a touch. But Cronulla obviously feel that the tactics now for them are to tip and chase, as Peter said before. It seems to be the only way through. They won that one against the head, and now they get a chance to attack. The ball will be spread here.
Gone out to Healy and spread across now for Quinn. Turns it back inside, a bad pass. Went nowhere near Eddinghausen. This was Quinn passing. And we're back with it now as Porter is tackled 25 metres out from the line. Topper, Healy, McGaw this time. McGaw looking to unload on the inside. Last tackle for the Sharks. Topper goes inside the 22. That's the turnover.
He might have been better served to put that one high and let his runners get through on it. But now Canterbury, they really have struggled the whole half. Neither side has got on top. It's been a very dour game. McGrady, he's got to start looking for a bit more work. And, you know, a player like McGrady, he can change the match in a matter of about 2 or 3 minutes with some of those bursts that he can make.
Tronk, wrapped up by Kearns. Or it was McGaw, in fact. Big Mark McGaw. He hit Scott Tronk with a tremendous amount of force. So Canterbury really taking a battering. Nothing wrong with the tackle. But Sparkles McGaw, he's a giant of a man. Yeah, the big Cronulla centre. He hit him with everything. Shoulder and arm. And Scott Tronk has taken the full brunt of it. A real bone-crushing tackle by Mark McGaw. Have a look at the size of him too. We tend to concentrate on forwards when we talk about the giants of the game, but he stands tall in any language. Polomata. Quinn, a long run back. So Canterbury, with only seconds remaining before half-time, will be hoping to force the error from Cronulla. Coleman. Dan Staines. Ooh, that's a bad play of the ball. Porter. Straight up and down is Michael Porter as a footballer. Nothing flash, but gets through a hell of a lot of hard work. Keneb. 32 metres out for the kick. And he's put it out on the full, so as I was talking about opportunity, Canterbury worked for 5 tackles to get it. Now they've got it. Can they do something with it? Polomata, Lamb, picked up off his bootlaces. Polomata, they're doing plenty of passing. There's the siren. Put in the air by Brokenshire. Lamb picks it up. Oh, well, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. Terry Lamb has scored under the uprights. The up and under from Mark Brokenshire. And Canterbury-Bankstown have scored as the siren sounds. Terry Lamb to Craig Polomata. It went to probably the most unlikely of them all, Mark Brokenshire, for the kicking duty. Lamb followed through. He got the most magical bounce you'll ever see, and he picks up 4 points right on half-time. Look at that bounce on Chris Quinn, would you? And it bounces straight into the chest of Terry Lamb. And Canterbury pick up a try right on half-time. Lamb will take the conversion of his own try. Right in front for Terry Lamb. No problems for this Canterbury champion. Well, what a freakish way to finish the half, Tony Ray.
Yeah, but you make your own luck, don't you? You know, they put the high ball up. Plenty of competitive chases there from Canterbury, and the old master, Terry Lamb, came up with a great try.
Canterbury-Bankstown leave the field, leading Cronulla by 8 points to 2. We'll take a break and be back on Saturday Night League. Now for the second half, and that try coming for Canterbury on the half-time siren sees them coming into the resumption, 8 points to 2. Let's have a look at some statistics now with Paul Horton.
And surprisingly, although Canterbury lead 8-2, Cronulla has had the best of the possession. More times with the ball, they've held the ball for 6 tackles, a lot more. Canterbury, of course, prepared to kick early in the tackle count. That's the reason for that. Canterbury just made the one line break. Cronulla 2. One of those was Ebb, the other one possibly Eddinghausen. The missed tackle count, that's fairly even. And Cronulla have had the ball for 9 times. They really control the ball very well. Handling errors 6-3. Canterbury lead that one. And the score 8-2, Canterbury in front. I'm sure both coaches very disappointed with their sides in the first half. Some stern talking done at half time. We can see a replacement on for the Canterbury side. Number 25, Geordie Peets is on for the Canterbury side. We'll find out who is replaced. I would imagine he would go into the hooking role.
Referee Kelvin Jeffs just asking the captains if they're both ready. There's the replacement, Geordie Peets in 25. And Cronulla Sutherland kicking it off very deep into the corner. Lamb immediately sending, I believe that's Reardon this time. Normally wears the headgear. He was without it during that first half. And he's wearing it in the second half. Play by Simon Gillies, and Geordie Peets gains about 5 or 6 metres out beyond the 22-metre line. Bruce Maguire. Polomauta. Easily around the charge down attempt. Chris Quinn coming away from his quarter line. Maguire wrapping him up, ball and all. Healy, fragile defence there by a couple of Canterbury players. 4-3 the penalties to Canterbury.
Make it 4-all. Penalty to Cronulla inside the 5-metre zone once again. We saw Kelvin Jeffs in the first 20 minutes of that first half really crack down in that area. I felt he let it go in the end 20 minutes of that half.
Well, again, I can't understand. Like, there was 15-20 metres to the defensive player. To get a flowing game, why pull the game up when the attacking side is not being really penalised?
Coleman.
Let's just see how Jeff's consistency goes in that area as we get later in the match.
Kearns. Tony Ray, anything for... hang on a moment, Tony. Kearns spinning out of a tackle, taking it down to the 22. Rape up. Shows it to one run up. Oh, Borton. Picked up and driven into the ground there. Strong tackle by Brokenshire and by Maguire. Ebb, Eddinghausen, 10 metres from the line. Chris Quinn to dummy half. Ebb. Canterbury's defence now called upon to be at its strongest. Raper tries to grub her through, and Canterbury-Bankstown have come up with the ball. Play by Reardon. Now Tony Ray. Any news from the dressing rooms?
Yeah, from the Cronulla dressing rooms, Arthur Beetson's just asked the side to keep it tight, keep doing what they're doing, just tighten the game up a little bit so that they can control the game rather than come up with mistakes and give the control of the game back to the Canterbury side. The big word in the Canterbury dressing room was enthusiasm. Chris Anderson thought that the players weren't up to the top-end level with their enthusiasm and asked them to pick their rate up this half.
Scott Tronk. Polomauta. I might try and get a report, Tony, if you can, on Gavin Hill. Ball carried back by Coleman.
Very good kick there from Craig Polomauta. Was in a little bit of trouble with the pressure coming through, but able to get a good 50, 60-metre kick in. Was that a mistake made? Yes, it is. A crucial mistake, and I wouldn't be at all surprised. Well, here's Gillies.
Oh, gee.
Oh, what about the knee?
Big knee went in there. Well, we could have some troubles here. Simon Gillies is involved, that's for sure. And it's the winger Higgins for Cronulla Sutherland.
He's thrown the big right-hander, and it did look as though from this distance up here, an angle, that the knee went in from Simon Gillies. To me, that's a send-off offence. The Cronulla player is now called across. We're keen to have a look at this incident once again after we see what the referee's decision finally is. Cronulla player being spoken to, quite vehemently being sent back now. But I think he's a lucky man, Simon Gillies, from my point of view. And it looks like being a Canterbury penalty.
Oh, unbelievable.
Here we see here now, there's Gillies coming in late. Higgins certainly wasn't happy. A push down again. Well, he's kicked out first, Higgins. And unfortunately, it goes out of shot there.
I do reckon he's dead set throwing the bumblebee in. He hasn't missed him.
Well, I think the referee might have thought it was a bit of an even up after Higgins has kicked out with his leg. But it is a Canterbury penalty, and of course a very important kick. They now lead by 6 as the rain starts to fall here at Belmore Sports Ground. This will put them 8 points clear, more than one converted try. And in a low-scoring game, starting to get out of reach of Cronulla if this does go over.
Now I think we're waiting for a sandboy. One of the players from Canterbury has gone over to the sand heap. There's just no sandboy, and here's Andrew Patmore taking a handful of sand out to his captain, Terry Lamb.
Well, I have to question that penalty, Paul. I thought that he was quite late coming in, Simon Gillies, and in fact was the man who wanted to go on with it a little bit by pushing down again on Higgins. Higgins, in the end, had enough and did kick out, which he shouldn't have done. But I do think the aggressor in that particular incident was Simon Gillies, and this could end up being a crucial penalty, and maybe one that I believe went the wrong way.
Well, maybe the touch judge saw things differently to how the referee saw it. He couldn't wait to get on and put his report in. You see the rain's coming down steadily here at Belmore Sports Ground.
Well, there's the little boy with the sand, but by now the players have delivered enough to Terry Lamb. He had to come from the far side of the ground, the little bloke, but then he was waved away.
It's been a pretty heavy bit of sand too. He's doing it pretty tough on the way out and back.
8 points to 2 at the 44th minute in favour of the home side. 24 metres out, almost in front. Flags go up. Canterbury extending their lead. 10 points to 2 now.
Well, Tony Ray, you probably had a good view of that incident from down at ground level. Did you see it any differently than we did up here, or do you go along with the decision?
I agree with you, actually. It was very cunning play by the Cronulla player to kick out. But I thought he was looking for a penalty. He didn't come up with it.
So you don't mind the Canterbury penalty in the end? Do you think the Cronulla player was at fault?
Well, I thought he was, yeah, because he lifted his knee early.
All played by Gillies. Maguire with a good run. Just outside the 22 line, his own end of the park. Broganshire, gee, that was strong defence by Cronulla. 6 more tackles, I think he should have ruled, but
well, he should have, but he's ruled 5th tackle. And Mark Brokenshire's down injured for the Canterbury side. Craig Polamander sends one down just over the halfway mark and into touch.
And it's not the first time that Brockenshire has been down in this game. He's up onto his feet now and limping across, but he's got a little bit of punishment up front for the Canterbury team. There's the big tackle, a couple of players coming in. The ball came out, eventually cleaned up by Canterbury. The referee ruled that it was the 5th tackle still.
Scrum work by Topper. Well, gee, that's a bad pass. Put the 5'8" under immense pressure there. Mitch Healy. And a penalty goes to Cronulla against Terry Lamb. This is the incident. Watch Terry Lamb to the end of this. And there's the hand from Lamb coming down, banging the ball out from the grasp of Mitch Healy.
And Terry Lamb is one of the main people who've been affected by this rule, not being able to rip the ball out. His book has just come out, and I know that he does comment in that he believed it was an art form. And even though that was a silly incident there, his game has been affected by the fact that in one-on-one situations he's not allowed to contest a badly held ball by the opposition player with poor ball security.
And I think it still should be allowed one-on-one because ball security is a very important part of the game. It's how we all learn to play the game since we grow up as, as youngsters getting into the game. And one-on-one, there's been some great players who do it over the years. Noel Clear was one who did it very effectively for Manly. Now they spin it out Cronulla, looking for holes, but Canterbury's defence is holding them very well at this stage.
Played by McGaw. Eddinghausen in at first receiver for the kick. And McGrady's underneath it with Polomouta. Canterbury's ball. Doolan. Scott Tronk. Cronulla's defence taking him back about 5 metres. Polomouta. McGuire. Clearing kick off the boot of Geordie Peach.
And it wasn't a bad set of 6 in defence for Cronulla. Higgins now takes the ball up on the first tackle, 10 metres into the opposition half. So they did well. The 5th tackle was actually taken by Geordie Peach, only 20-25 metres out. Cronulla deciding to go wide once again. Coleman looking for Eddinghausen to come around, but well cleaned up just inside the half.
Yeah, they spun it wide, but just didn't have enough players there to utilise the space they had. Now they're getting set up again on the left-hand side. And Eddinghausen, McGaw involved again, but no winger out there.
McGaw now running off an Eddinghausen pass.
He's out there, but he's nearly in the stand.
Knock on ruled by Kelvin Jeffs. Scrum will go down on the Canterbury 32-metre line. Tony Ray.
Yeah, as the rain comes tumbling down, I guess the big guys are going to become important. I've just been speaking to Gavin Hill on the bench. He just copped a whack in the head early. He was a bit groggy. He's super keen to get back out and take some more part in this game.
Ewan McGrady. It's all been good news following some rather tense moments for everybody in the Canterbury camp. Good news for Darren Smith and for Gavin Hill. Polomouta exploding through the gap inside the 32-metre line. Higgins comes across to clean up. Good run by Polomouta. Lamb, Scott Tronk, 10 metres from the line.
And if they come left, they're a chance. Both Danny Staines and Fortin out wide. Terry Lamb has seen that.
Lamb jinks and goes back. Polomouta back where they started from. That's the 5th tackle.
Lamb signals that he's going to kick the bomb to his outside man. He goes to the ground instead. In behind the post, will be cleaned up.
Terry Lamb was taken late, in my opinion, by Ken Ebb, the Cronulla lock, but Ebb is down injured. There's the replay. I've got to say that Ebb probably couldn't have stopped and come out of it.
No, the linesman, I reckon this will be a Canterbury penalty, Ray. I thought the tackle was a little bit late. They're both down. Hasn't done either of them any good.
Well, here we see the final, or the break by Craig Polomouta. Some great speed showing there. Really accelerated after brushing off one of the forward defenders from the Cronulla team. And he got a good play the ball here with Terry Lamb, the first man going the blind side, as always, in support. Kept the play going the same way. And this was the last tackle that we saw the incident with Ken Ebb. Terry Lamb now back onto his feet, Ebb being spoken to. And there's little doubt this will be a Canterbury penalty in good position.
Well, it's got to be where the ball landed, if I'm right on this rule. And let's watch the referee. Now he's running over to, I'm sure, give the penalty where it landed, and that was just in front of the uprights. And that's exactly what he's done. But Ken Ebb, he's come out of it the worst for wear. He put a shot on Terry Lamb. He's hurt himself, and he's given Canterbury a certain 2 points.
Well, here's another shot of the final kick here. There's Lamb. He was committed, Ebb. Gee, it's hard to pull out of that. They're very line ball decisions, that one. What do you think, Paul?
No, he was committed, but he still could have pulled out of it, Peter. He could have stepped stepped off his right foot and missed Terry. He didn't have to go on with the incident, and I think it's a deserving penalty.
If he pulls out of it, he hits the ground about halfway. He was flying.
Well, he's cost his side 2 points.
And it could be a very vital 2 points too, keeping in mind that Canterbury lead by 8 points to 2. Cronulla's going to have to score a couple of times. Lamb, he adds the 2 points to the Canterbury tally. And the Doggies, they lead the Sharks by 10 points to 2. 12-2, I beg your pardon.
Wednesday, the 10th.
So it's Canterbury leading Cronulla by 12 points to 2. Lamb. Redden. Simon Gillies. Peach. There's been nothing lacking in some of the hits in this game tonight. Strong stuff from both sides, particularly Cronulla. Polamauta's getting his kick in and finding the line. A couple of times he's been under pressure, the youngster, but he's still been able to get the kick in and find the line. This time about 8 metres into Cronulla's territory.
He's played very well, Craig Polamautta. As you can see, under a lot of pressure there. Didn't get a long kick in, but found some open spaces, and over the sideline it goes. And of course, it was his break from the middle of the field that led to the last 2 points being scored for the Canterbury outfit. 2 points, I think, that will wrap it up. For mine, Cronulla just not doing enough now with the football to get back into this game. They do have a couple of strike players out wide, and that's one of them, Mark McGaw, and he's throwing the silly pass. They can't win with those kind of tactics.
Played by Williams. Tronk obliged to go himself. Brockenshire, 150 to 149. The workload has been equal. Tronk. Polamautta. McGrady standing up on the line. This is Maguire.
There's no use with McGrady just standing and passing. He's got to start running the football. He's the most explosive player on the field, and he's got to start using his talents.
Lamb. He kicks ahead for himself. Simon Gillies gets another kick in. Knocked on by Cronulla. Advantage applies. Peach gets it away to Reardon, and Reardon gets a try. Reardon scores for the Canterbury side. Well,
if that last penalty didn't wrap up proceedings, that try has 16 points to 2 to Canterbury. Terry Lamb again involved. Saw that there was nobody sweeping behind the line. Put the little grubber kick in. He had a man outside in support in Simon Gillies. He got to the football before the big number 10 for Cronulla could do so. That's where the ball needed to be cleaned up by the fullback, Chris Quinn. But look at that, some support there. Steve Reardon crosses for the try. But good work from Geordie Pooch to be there.
And put this back down to Mark McGaw's spilled pass about 3 tackles ago. Terry Lamb's a genius. He didn't worry about the chip, just put the one through. Gillies did extra well, and Reardon backs up. Canterbury, 16-2 and doing it easily now.
Try scorer Steve Reardon joined the Bulldogs from down in the Murrumbidgee Riverina area. Fine young player.
And that was always going to be a problem area for both teams in behind the line. They're both the halfbacks like to play up in the defence to get there, and a lot of Canterbury players went through chasing the Terry Lamb kick, ended up in the hands of Reardon, and he crossed for the 4-pointer.
Terry Lamb from a fairly wide angle. Sees the points tally for Lamb. Spent quite a bit of time out, and that kick just wide of that upright. No addition to the score. Canterbury leading Cronulla by 16 points to 2. Midway through the second half almost.
There's still plenty of time for the Sharks to do something, but the fact is they're not doing anything. They can't control the ball. They did in the first half, but this second half they've really, their ball control's gone out the back door. and their defence is okay, but Canterbury is putting on too much skill for them.
Okay, you're talking about skill. Do we look to bring Gavin Miller into the game at the moment?
Providing he's on the bench, I think he's got to be brought in. He had a fine game in reserve grade, watched him closely, and sometimes when a top-class player looking at the end of his career goes back to second grade, he won't have a go, but not so for Gavin tonight. He tried very hard in second grade, and I'd be bringing on as soon as it could after Beetson.
Brokenshire, play midway between the 22 and halfway. Canterbury's end of the ground. This youngster's had a fine contribution to Canterbury's performance tonight. Colomounder. Speechley is on now for Cronulla.
I'm just wondering if Tony Ray can see if Gavin Miller is sitting on that sideline.
Paul, I've been looking for him and I can't see him anywhere, so maybe he's not sitting out on the sideline. He might have got an injury, or he might just be too tired.
Well, Tony, Michael Speechley has gone on. Who's he replaced?
I think you find he's on for Darren Higgins.
He did go on for Higgins. Higgins was cramping up, I thought. Paul, you mentioned before in the call, you said, where is the winger? He was standing, and he said he's standing out in the grandstand. He was actually cramping up in front of me at the time.
No excuse, he's got to get there.
He's only a winger, mate.
Cronulla now right on the halfway line. Speechley wearing the jumper number 40. This was McGaw. Kearns puts on a blindside wrap for Borton. And back to the halfway line they go. Rape up. 12 metres. Fifth tackle for the Sharks. Blindside for top up. Scott Tronk will play it.
Well, we've got another Canterbury player down who's been receiving attention for 3 or 4 tackles. It is Polamatta as Canterbury decide to go wide. There's McGrady. Patmore into space.
Andy Patmore getting outside his 32-metre line. Polamatta was cramped as he played the ball about 60 seconds ago. He's up and limping back into position now. Gillies.
Help him, Bobby.
Well, they're going to carry him over the sideline. Not so. I thought they were going to give a rather stupid penalty there.
Tony Ray, Canterbury looking to move the football now. They're playing with confidence. As a captain, and Andrew Ettinghausen is in those boots out there for Cronulla, what do you say to a team trailing by 14 halfway through the second half?
Behind the line of the last try, I thought the most obvious thing was, and Fatty mentioned it earlier, the drop ball by Mark McGaw was what cost them the try being scored against them. I guess what they've got to do is follow the coach's instructions, keep it tight, work for some field position, which they have not had. And once they get that, there's plenty of time. Maybe the game will turn for them. Don't panic, do the simple things right. Just hope the game comes to you.
So in turn, they have to force the mistake.
Exactly right.
Staines. Ebb. Porter. Ettinghausen. That's as high a bomb as you'll see. Here she comes, back down again now. Turnover of possession. Canterbury coming up with the ball about 30 metres out from their own line. Williams. Wide. Redden had the choice of inside, outside, picked up Doolan. This is Geordie Peets. Terry Lamb. Mitch Healy taking it back to the opposition. Wrapped up by Craig Polamatta and Simon Gillies. Porter. As willing as they come, Michael Porter. Coleman is the dummy half. That's him scooting out about 10 metres for Cronulla. Getting it almost to the halfway for Raper to cross that point now. Raper screaming at the touch judge. Did you see that? Put down by Kearns. Geordie Peets recovering possession for Canterbury.
Well, there's another mistake there by Cronulla. Simple mistakes, but they're hanging around the rucks too much. They had a back line set then for 4 tackles. Kerrs just took it up. It was a waste of a ruck, really. The ball should have been spun wide. Eddinghausen and McGaw out wide, being starved of possession.
Colomata. Scott Trock was under a lot of pressure, but he did well to get a pass away to the halfback. Pat Moore's kick. And Healy it is that brings it back. Coleman. Williams on Coleman. Healy has dropped back into the fullback position. Speechley has gone into 5/8. Staines. Thornton. Good surge by Cronulla's second row forward.
And they need to score points now. They've made some good grounds in 4. They're going wide through Topper, out to Speechley. Here's McGaw involved, gone straight through, got support.
Has he what? And he's gone down inside the 10-metre line. Aaron Raper was there to support him. Keeps the ball moving. Speechley, 2 metres from the line. 5 tackles gone for the Sharks. Raper, out it goes for Porter. Flicks it out the back. Raper tries to recover the ball, but the referee has ordered the turnover to Canterbury-Bankstown.
Well, McGaw went straight through, and the support I was talking about was Mitch Healy, the 5'8". Tried to do it all himself, Mark McGaw. I don't know if he could position his player. That was the last tackle. Porter tried to fling it out the back. Very scrappy play. The referee decides wasn't good enough, but we have seen a mistake now made by the Cronulla team. They've given away a penalty right in front of the post. All the pressure off.
A better run by McGaw. Hitting that ball at speed. Lots of power through the gap and looking for support back on the inside. And it's better play from Mark McGaw. He's one of the most experienced players on this side. He's got to take.
Grady. 16 points to 2 in favour of Canterbury-Bankstown at the 51st minute. Canterbury rucking the ball away from their 22 line. Maguire. Peach. Colomata. Lamb. Pat Moore. Now Williams. Speed to burn. McGrady's outside him. McGrady's gone inside the quarter. Look at Eddinghausen, but McGrady's in to score.
Well, some great piece of play there from the Canterbury back line, and what a man to finish it off. McGrady in full flight. Eddinghausen certainly coming across in great cover defence, but the man just had too much speed. But some excellent work done at the far end of the field by their inside backs. Here's the ball from Terry Lamb. The pass from Pat Moore to Williams was a beauty, and he positioned his man beautifully outside. McGrady, a very fluent motion. There's E.T. coming across, but McGrady scores in the corner, ending a very good backline movement.
I think it was that player Speechley who erred there. He went in on a player he didn't have to. Lovely pass from Pat Moore. Williams did the right thing, and this is shades of the first test of fire, and Eddinghausen, unfortunately on this occasion, E.T. couldn't get McGrady. A good effort though by E.T. Came across from the far centre. Good piece of captaincy by him. He hasn't given up.
Ewan McGrady scores the try for Canterbury, enlarging their lead, 20 points to 2. Gavin Hill is back on the field of battle for Canterbury now to take this attempted conversion.
And they're running away with the game now, the Bulldogs, and you can see the confidence in their play. Every time a Cronulla mistake is committed, they will go to their back line, playing with much more flair than we saw in the first 40 minutes. Very difficult kick here for Hill, but I don't think it'll make much difference in the final wash-up.
Good to see this man back on the field. There was some concern about him earlier. And around the corner, it turned left, it turned right, but it's no goal for Gavin Hill. And Canterbury leads by 20 points to 2 in Saturday Night League. Mitch Healy placing the ball for the restart. And the game slipping away from Cronulla well and truly now. Dallas came into the game after 1 minute to replace Darren Smith.
It's not slipping, Ray. The game has slipped. Yards being made now. There's Reardon, one of the try scorers. And Canterbury really looking good when they use the football. They've got some very smart inside plays. Patmore has played particularly well in the centre position, and he's benefited from some good work by both Pollamouta and Lamb. When they've realised they've got numbers, they've gone there.
Hill, very close to a shepherd there. He just had to jink away from the back of one of his colleagues. Tronk. 5 tackles gone. Lamb. Chris Quinn. Playing out on that left wing now. Good piece of work there by Scott Tronk. All of that kick right down the ground and then was able to run Chris Quinn down. Magore. Throwing Terry Lamb away. 3 others come in to bring Mark Magore down. Eddinghausen.
And Tony Ray, even though not a big Belmore crowd here, like all the teams in the competition, very hard to beat on your home ground, and Canterbury certainly have a good record here, very tough.
Yeah, they'll certainly be happy to win here, get the crowds coming back. As you said, not a big crowd, but they've enjoyed every minute of it. They must be really happy with Terry Lamb's performance. He's been involved in all the tries. He's controlled the game nicely with his kicking game, and what a leader he is.
Robbie Kearns. This is Cronulla's last tackle. Laper's kick, McGrady fielding it. A real good chase by Cronulla on Aaron Raper's kick. Grady took it well back inside his 22 and was still able to get out to the 32 after making the mistake.
Well, Terry Lamb now leaving the field on the far side. He's had a great game, Terry Lamb. When you talk about great players of the last decade, I'd put him in the top half dozen I've seen. Nothing he can't do on the football field. Leads by example, leads himself. Always pushes himself to the limit.
Williams. Pollamouta. Reardon. And the referee ruling that pass was forward. So the scrum will go down about 12 metres on Canterbury side of halfway. This was the pass that he ruled forward. Well, gee, I think we've seen passes go further forward than that in the match tonight and not go.
Yeah, it didn't look too bad to me, actually. Rabs, the referee, was actually about 5 metres in front of that pass. Luke Massey on the sideline. Looks like he'll get a start. And the man to come off and be replaced is Robbie Kearns, who I think has played very well for the Cronulla side. He's tried very hard all night.
Kearns off and Massey on.
And that would be Glenn Hughes filling in the 5'8" spot for Terry Lamb. One of the young players coming through. Has played a fair bit of first-grade football early in the season. He's relegated to the fresh replacements bench for this particular game. And he's a player up and coming for the Canterbury team. And what a name to carry at Canterbury.
Eddinghausen. Magore now. Trying to battle his way across the top there of Reardon's tackle. Played now by Healy. Luke Massey, son of the now coordinator at Parramatta, Ron Massey. Speech lead. Kenneth. Gillies hitching a ride and putting him onto the turf. Raper again. Eddinghausen trying to pick it up. Was he held out of it?
Yeah,
yes, he was.
Had to be a penalty. He was held. Simon Gillies all over him there like a rash. E.T. trying to pick the ball up, but Gillies just crawling all over him, preventing him from getting the ball.
Not once, but twice, in fact. Canterbury interfering with Andrew Eddinghausen. Cronulla penalty 6-all. Coleman is tackled in the centre of the ground, about 15 metres out. Raper finds Porter. 20 points to 2 in favour of the Doggies. Staines ran the decoy. Borton gives the pass. Ebb puts it down. Patmore comes away. outside the 22 and the 32-metre point.
And Tony Ray, that really has been the story of the night for the Sharks. Just too many mistakes.
It has been a very disappointing effort. They've never looked hot at any stage. They haven't really threatened the Canterbury line. Perhaps they are.
This is Dallas down the sideline. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah, the only thing if any time they've ever looked like scoring when they put the high ball up.
Well, starting to get a little bit scrappy in the game now. Luke Massey cleans up a drop ball there from Canterbury. And Danny Stones takes the ball forward. But certainly Cronulla have dug their own grave. A lot of handling errors, especially early in the tackle count. And the longer this game has gone, the more in confidence the Canterbury team have grown.
Michael Porter, he's taken the ball up to Canterbury many, many times in this game tonight, Michael Porter. Staines. Eddinghausen folding in on the last tackle. Again, he adopts the same tactic, as high as he can get it. And McGrady was brilliant then. McGrady was outstanding that time. He's cramped up.
Well, we spoke about his problems last week against the Illawarra team. No such problems there. A lot of confidence shown by Ewan McGrady. There was a fair bit of pressure on him too, and he never took his eyes off the football and caught it only 3 metres out from his own line.
Yes.
Canterbury now looking to work it out as McGrady is cramping up, as have quite a few players out there this evening.
Doolan. Six more tackles. Williams.
Well, that's twice we've seen Borton try to knock the ball down. That was more of an intercept attempt, but he was never going to catch that one as well, and I don't see the sense in that, really.
It's a nothing play, Peter. What's it going to achieve? Just a knock on, 6 more tackles on every time you do it.
Maguire. Gillies. Knocked down by Scott Tronk. Topper comes up with it for the Sharks.
Been very impressed with the Canterbury second rowers tonight in Tronk, the former West and Brisbane player, and also there's another mistake. It's been a mistake-a-thon. Magore once again on the Sharks.
McGrady, Patmore, in and away from Topper. Puts the foot down, uses the fend. Here comes Eddinghausen again. This time he finds the target.
And they'll go wide because they've got big numbers. McGrady, looking to go, there's the short ball. Geordie Peats under the post, as easy as you please.
The Canterbury go further in front. 24 points to 2. Try by Geordie Peats.
It all came from the Mark Magore mistake once again. We don't want to be too hard on him. He's trying hard, but the ball just went loose. And right from here, Andrew Patmore makes a big bust, scoots down this left-hand side. Lovely ball from McGrady. Some poor defence there from some Cronulla players. Healy should have had him covered. It was left to the Australian fullback to cover up once again. And there was gaps everywhere out wide. Just a short ball. McGrady read it well. No Cronulla offence whatsoever. And Peats, he won't score an easier one.
Certainly won't. And E.T. had to come up with the big tackle, but I thought that he should have stayed in up the far end of the field. He opened up the play for Patmore, and then McGrady read that there was an easy run there for Geordie Peats. Again, the Cronulla defence just didn't reform in time. And an easy try and an easy conversion kick. There he is, Geordie Peats, Kmore's replacement, the big smile on the face.
Attempt a conversion. Taken by Gavin Hill from right in front, only 14 metres out. And no problems, further addition to the scoreline for Canterbury-Bankstown to lead now by 26 points to 2. Again for the Sharks. Reardon. Solid tackle by Borton. Canterbury too fast, too classy for Cronulla tonight. Well, Cronulla, of course, have made their job much more difficult, coughing the ball up, dropping off tackles. Bruce Maguire, hard to believe that Dwyer came on to, or comes off the bench these days.
And Ray Cronulla, another heavy loss for them. It really makes you wonder where that particular club is heading. Languishing in second last position on the ladder. They came in with a new coach this year in Arthur Beetson, a new chief executive, Peter Mortimer. Peter Mortimer's now resigned. It makes you wonder why a young, enthusiastic chief executive like him would want to leave the Sharks. Obviously, there are problems out in the area, and they must get them resolved very quickly if they want to go forward in this premiership.
Here's Cronulla winning a scrum, and Speechley puts the head down and tries to burrow through, but Gillies there to wrap him up. Eddinghausen sweeps it across for Quinn. He turns it inside for Healy. 22 metres out from the Canterbury line. Last minutes of the game. Porter can't handle. Ebb cleans up for Cronulla. Quinn. Massey. Raper spinning the ball back across the ruck to Borton. Inside the last 2 minutes.
And again, you'll think they'll be forced to go for the high kick. Well, Raper's gone for the little kick over the top. No pressure at all on Ewan McGrady. And he's away down the sideline.
McGrady outside the quarter-way mark, trying to link up with the runners.
They did well there, didn't try the silly pass. But I'm sure that Chris Anderson will be very happy more with the scoreline, not allowing Cronulla to score against them a try across their line. If they've gone wide again, they might run in another try. That's Dallas away.
Dallas, Borton is after him, he misses him. Young Dallas, he's going to go in and score. That'll be a big thrill for the boy. Called into the game after only 60 seconds.
And there's Chris Anderson applauding, and why not? He threw this kid in there after 1 minute. Wouldn't have had time to mentally prepare himself to get into this game, and he scored a try in the last minute. 30 points to 2. Big performance from Canterbury. Cronulla going into this game with the worst attacking record. That hasn't improved, and they've gone from one side of the field to the other. Good work inside again from Polamatta.
But just look at the Cronulla offence there, Peter, not forming up. They're only covering half the field. How are they supposed to stop the Canterbury runners? They just can't do it. And a great effort by that young bloke. Good to see him, probably his first grade debut tonight. Finished it off very well.
There we see the final pass, Rowan. Borton coming across. Couldn't get the ankle tap. Good speed, the winger. President's Cup winger played earlier this evening. And tries to improve the position a touch. 30 points to 2. And they're on track for a semi-final spot, to the extent that they now move to 11 points. With 1 point out of the 5, and the game that they had to win, they have got away with.
And it's great to see a redhead score a try.
Yeah. Yes, I had visions of the Big V. The Big V in years gone by.
1979 is about the last try I scored.
We give you half an hour. Will you tell us about it?
Hard to describe a 2-metre run to the line in half an hour.
24 metres out.
Well, you were chasing me.
Gavin Hill's kick, turning around. No goal. No addition. There's the siren. 30 points to 2 in favour of Canterbury. It was a grind early. A grind for 39 minutes, in fact. Canterbury got that try right on half-time. And then the second half, it was all downhill for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs against Cronulla, winning the match by 30 points to 2. And from the MMI Insurance people, the $1,000 Man of the Match award tonight goes to Terry Lamb, given an early shower by his coach. Of course, he did some great work whilst he was out there. Let's have a look at the completion of round 12 matches in the Winfield Cup tomorrow. Manly plays Parramatta at Brookvale. Canberra plays the Magpies at Bruce Stadium. Norths take on Illawarra at North Sydney Oval. Brisbane and Balmain at Lang Park. Souths and the Gold Coast at the Sydney Football Stadium. And our televised match tomorrow night at 6:30 is the Panthers versus the Roosters. Then on Tuesday night, we bring you the Lions versus the Knights from the Marathon Stadium at Newcastle. On behalf of Tony Ray, Paul Borton, Peter Sterling, I'm Ray Warren. Good night.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.